Hi everyone, I hope you all are doing well and staying safe and healthy. This is Radhika here again, and this video is going to be about what are some of the saddest things that I have seen or I have heard happen to a narcissistic person. Um, so, some of these are from my own experiences with the narcissistic people I had in my life, and some of these I have heard from clients or friends, that I talk to, and that have recognized people in their life as narcissists. So, the one common thing I have seen is as narcissists age, as they age more and more, uh, they they start having a lot of other mental disorders. Like they might develop something like schizophrenia or Alzheimer's. They might, I'm not saying everyone who has schizophrenia or Alzheimer's is a narcissistic person. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying, in my own experience, in my own family, I have seen a lot of people when they get old, um, they have this sort of mental disorder. I can't put a name on it. It's a variety of different things, and I think it happens because the narcissistic person over their lifetime has fragmented themselves in so many different ways. um, and they haven't really been through any integration of these different fragments of themselves. So they have a lot of uh, a lot of mental disorders where their brain is not quite right. So they might go back in time, suddenly start feeling like the day to day is a day from 20 years ago. This might start accusing people of things done 20 years ago to them. This is an indication that there's some trauma that they haven't yet integrated in their being. The trauma has not been processed that happened to them. Then another case I myself experienced was where a narcissistic person, as they become old, they don't want to let go of their body. Even though, like, when a person is about to die, they do get very clear messages that now the soul has to leave the body and you have to die. But if you cling on to your body, um, it's kind of like you show all these symptoms of a person who's ready to die, but who's not willing to leave their body. So they'll just stand in one place for a whole day. They won't eat anything for 2 whole days, but then suddenly they'll eat something just to keep themselves going. So these are all symptoms. They might have hallucinations. They might speak things really out of context. Like, I don't want to give it the term crazy because crazy is a very like overused word, but the way they talk, you don't understand what they are trying to tell you exactly. It's total random talk. So I have seen these things, and it's a very pitiable condition when this thing happens, especially in older narcissists. And by old, I mean like 70 plus, 80 plus. And I have seen, as the narcissist, if they age more and more, then they really don't want to leave their body because the thought of dying is really scary to them. Because when you die in an integrated state, you are not afraid of death because you are completely integrated. So going back to source is a very small jump. The delta there is very less because source is integrated in itself. So if you do your shadow work, if you integrate all parts of yourself, if you accept everything about yourself, it becomes very easy to die because you have lived a full life every moment that you have lived. But if you have lived a whole life denying a lot of yourself, a lot of parts of yourself, a lot of your own actions, deeds, words, intentions, then what happens is when you go back to source, which is all encompassing, the delta that you have, the difference between you and the source, is a lot. And that's why narcissists are inherently very, very scared of dying, because the polarity is just too much. Um, so yeah, that's what I've seen in the old age. In the middle ages, when a person has been narcissistic for a long time, what happens is their family is extremely bored of them. So the saddest thing that happens to them is they are just unwanted. Wherever they go, if the family has woken up to the fact that this person is a narcissistic person, then whoever are the members of their family who have realized this fact, they want to stay away from the narcissistic person as much as possible. So this will totally differ. If it's a the whole clan is narcissistic, then in that case the narcissist will have other people around supporting them. But say you have like one person who's narcissistic in a family, and the others are like kind of more awakened to the fact that something is wrong with this person, then they will isolate the narcissistic person, and they will continue with their own lives. They might stay in the same house, or they might still talk to the narcissistic person, be with them, but they are not 100% with the narcissistic person. It's like most of the time they want to avoid this person. So that's a sad thing that happens with narcissistic people in more awakened families, that their families really don't want to be with them. Uh, but they will be with them because end of the day that's the responsible thing to do. So such narcissistic people, they become extremely needy, and then they might use other sources of supply. So if they are in a job, they try to make a family in the job scenario, and they might try to like find other sources of supply in their job, mentor them or groom them in whatever way they want to, give them some rewards if they do whatever the narcissistic person wants them to do. um, and if that's not enough, like no one in the work environment is going for it, then they will look for friends outside. So they'll always be on a lookout for people to give them supply. And that's again a sad state, because this narcissist has become needy and they're just going looking for supply. And if their cover is blown in one scenario, like with one friend, then what they do is they completely disconnect with that friend and the whole cycle starts again. So again they will find someone to cheat, someone to take advantage of, and it's a whole cycle that they keep repeating throughout their life. So they don't really grow much, they just keep repeating the same cycle again and again and again. So their ego doesn't go through much development, much integration, etc., which is a sad thing, right? Say it's kind of like you are stuck in grade 1 for your whole life. You're just not um, doing enough to get to grade 2, so that has to be frustrating beyond a point. Um, so so yeah, that's the sad thing that happens to narcissists in the middle ages, in their middle ages. And then yeah, another sad thing that might happen is the narcissist's partner might actually find their own footing in the world, and they might completely ignore the narcissistic person, stonewall them, or go grey rock, or no contact with them. So yeah, it's overall a very depressing and sad existence that narcissists live. And there's been a lot of research where people say that narcissists don't learn, um, and they cannot learn. But in my own experience, I don't find that to be very true. Of course, I'm not a doctor and I'm not a scientist, but from my observations of the world, what I have seen is they decide themselves not to learn certain things, because I have seen them very easily learn other things. So, if a person is deficient in learning, if they have a learning disability, they don't learn anything. They don't learn like technical things, emotional things, social things, anything. But for a narcissistic person, they are very good at learning actually. They just choose not to use certain learnings, and they always choose to go down the bad way of living their life. So I'm not really convinced on some research that says that they cannot learn things. There might be people like that because every person is different. But yeah, I think they know how to learn, but they just choose not to. They choose to take the wrong path again and again. So yeah, that was this video. These are the saddest things that I have seen happen to a narcissist in my own life and in other people's experience. Um, yeah, and I forgot another thing that happens is that they do undergo a lot of humiliation throughout their life and a lot of rejection from a lot of people. So yeah, that's those are all the things that narcissists have to face in the life. So I hope this video was helpful to you, and as always, I wish you a lot of love and a lot of light. Thank you. Bye.